What if I told you that Toys Works, Toys Era, Bullet Head and Damn Toys were all one and the same company? Would you believe me? I already filmed this bit. Unfortunately I forgot to put the microphone onto my lapel, so it was all echoey and crap. So we're going back and we're going to re-film this bit here, which is just showing you the box. And here it is, and it says Spiritual Leader on the front, and it's got this bright neon sort of glowing color there with some sort of Matrix graphics in the background. It's not exactly Matrix, but it's reasonably close, and it's got like a spot varnish UV picture of Morpheus there with the Toy Works logo. I hate that logo, it's so crap. But it's quite a nice box, nice and simple. There's the side. They've done sort of a neon pink Matrix style graphic on the side with the spot UV spreading out on this side as well. I would have preferred it just to be green, you know, make it look like the Matrix, but I understand why they didn't do that. And then of course we've got the Toy Works logo with all the warning signs on the back, more of the graphics. There's a few creases there, but that actually I think came from the factory because the shipper box was fine. And then on this side, again, some more Matrix style graphics. There's the top, there's the bottom, and when you open it up, there's no cardboard slip sleeve or anything like that. It is just simply the clamshell with the figure inside and all the accessories displayed. Well, I've got the figure out already, so let's just quickly get to showing you the figure. And don't worry, we will talk about the Toy Works, Toys Era and all that stuff just after I do the review, so stick around for the end of the video and you'll hear me talk about my suspicions on the actual sort of symbiotic relationship all these companies seem to have. But my initial impressions coming out of the box now is that it feels substantive, it feels like a good figure, so we're going to go in, take a look at it and see exactly what we get. Head sculpt wise, we can see it's actually quite a very nicely detailed sculpt. There's lots of small pitting in the actual skin texture, very much like Lawrence Fishburne. And you come around and we can see the sculpting of the face, the nose. If we take these sunglasses off for a second, you can see the eyes. This is where it kind of lets it down a little bit, is those eyes. I don't know what it is, but there is something there. And maybe the top part of the lip here, there's a bit of a snarl there, but it's not fully put in. So I'm not entirely sure what it is. But otherwise, quality wise and paint application wise, it's really nice. The eyebrows are a tad soft, just here, but it's nothing too bad. But I really actually like the eyes. They're not just a brilliant white eye with the iris in the middle. You can see they've actually gone in and there's a slight cream hint to those eyes. And you can see around the eyelids there is a darkening so that it doesn't look like a big white sticker stuck on the front there. If we come to the side, we can see that the ear very well sculpted, although there is no, like, it doesn't have the recess in there to make it look like it goes in deeper, which is a shame, but you know, it is what it is. We can see that there is lots of actual indentations and slight imperfections to give it a realistic bald head sculpt. And that's actually very rare to get nowadays, especially for a figure of this price point. Coming around to the side, you can see that slight indentation there for the back of the head. One of the things that lets it down a little bit is I think this bit here should be sticking out a little bit more. And obviously because it's a neck sculpt, it actually goes all the way down into the shirt and doesn't break up the aesthetic with a different seam line for the head and the neck. Overall, I really like the head sculpt. There are a few people, it's going to jar, that sort of vacant stare is going to jar people, I think. But for me, I really like it. And also I want to display them with the sunglasses. And these sunglasses are really, really nice. They're actually metal, they're not plastic, which means they're a little bit more durable. But also, because they are metal, they've managed to put like a magnet in here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but there's definitely a magnet in there. And it just softly touches onto the head and it just pops on there. So let's just pull that off and then pop. Oh, see, it can easily fall off, but they do magnetize on. Boom. and they're reasonably stuck on there. If you shake this around, they're going to fall off, but they're not too bad. And I put a slight bend in the glasses so that they could actually fit on there a little bit more natural, because they're just like a metal sheet. They've cut it out and it looks really flat on front. So I slightly bent them a tiny fraction, just so they can fit onto the bridge of the nose a little better. But boom, they clamp on pretty well, and I really like the look of that. He definitely now looks a hell of a lot like Morpheus from The Matrix. Okay, clothing wise, we can see I've taken the coat off for a minute just so you can see underneath it. You can see this lovely purple suit that he's got on, really nice sort of styled waistcoat. It's got these little buttons on here that look really good. They're quite size appropriate. It's velcroed on, and then we can see that he's got a little shirt underneath. Again, really sort of nice little small protected shirt line here. However, there's no buttons there. It's just a stitched in line to make it look like a real shirt. But it works really well. The actual collar is pretty nice. I mean, I've seen better. I mean, I recently saw a better one on the Toys Era Joker. But again, it's that same sort of style of they've managed to flatten it and keep it starchy so it doesn't become like a really sort of puffy, that puffed out sort of collar that makes it look like a doll's shirt. Tie is pretty nice, but it's elasticated, which is very similar to a lot of the Toys Era stuff. Look, I'll get into that at the end of the video, but yeah, you can see that there is very much some similarities between all these companies. And then we can see these trousers, they're velcroed on. And underneath here, there is a sort of padded suit. You can feel the foam underneath, and it goes especially down into the legs here. They've really padded this out because they want to give him that true Lawrence Fishburne style. He's not like a podgy fat guy or anything, but he is slightly less well chiseled and defined, and he doesn't have that V taper going in. He actually has quite a thick waist, and he actually has thick legs, and he's got thick shoulders and arms, and the whole thing works really well because it looks a hell of a lot more like the actor. And the only thing that lets it down a little bit are the shoes, because these are just bog standard basic 1/6 scale plastic shoes. They don't do anything special. There is some shoelace sculpting in there, but there's not a lot in there. They're quite like, these are the kind of thing you could buy on eBay pretty cheap. And if we pull it up, we can see that the padding on the leg goes all the way down. He's got quite thick ankles. But again, it really works with the aesthetic of the actual actor himself, Lawrence Fishburne. Articulation is quite a mixed bag. We can see that the head can move around like that. There's not much up or down because it's sort of pushed into the body here, and it's kind of fixed. So there's not a lot of movement, forward, back, up or down. It is what it is, left and right kind of. And you can get the arms up quite high like that. There is a bicep swivel. There is a double bend in the arms. But then we come down and we can see, oh, this guy has a severe case of vitiligo. Michael Jackson would be shocked to see that. But yeah, it's clear that they've just used a cheap stock body. They haven't even used a sort of African American style body. You can get those, but they've just cheaped out and just used a stock body. And then you're going to have to futz a lot to hide that body. That is a letdown. But then the wrist pegs go up and down and they spin all the way around, which ain't too bad. There is a butterfly joint here, goes forward and back, and you can push this up and in or down and out. Doesn't look like you can do much, but it does help with the aesthetic and make the shoulders more relaxed when you need to make him look more relaxed. Torso wise, we are looking at him going quite far back, quite far forward, but there's nothing really in the upper torso because of that padded suit. It is all in the waist. You can go that far left, that far right, but then we're sort of losing the shirt here and we have to tuck it all back in. So when you're doing all these extreme poses, you're gonna have to tuck him in. The legs are probably, because of all that padding, it does let it down a little bit. The legs can kind of go out, but they're not much. And then forward, you can go about, with effort, he can go up, but then it starts to pull back. There is a thigh swivel, but there isn't the ability to do much of it. And then we can get a double bend in the knee like that. And there is an ankle pivot and forward and back, and there's a bit of rolling around. But again, that padding does restrict the movement. a little bit. But be honest, what sort of poses are you going to do with this guy? You're more than likely going to get him standing there posing with the swords, holding the guns, or with his hands behind his back with the sunglasses on. Okay, accessory wise, he comes with 6 different hands, 2 fisted, 2 gun holding hands, 1 relaxed hand and 1 sword holding hand. And he obviously comes with this, I say katana, I guess you'd call it, or a samurai sword. You can see the sheath's pretty nice. It's got a really nice sort of bindings around the bottom here. We put a nice black wash in it and they've actually tied a knot. And we come up and we see they've got some wrapping of pleather around the top here. And if we come and have a look at the handle, we can see it's very well painted. There's no sloppiness up there. It's very neat. The same on this side again. Very effective. The hilt's nice and simple. And then of course we've got the sword on the inside. And if I shine it in the right way, you can see it's very nice and chrome and reflective. It feels very metal. It's a very nice sword. It looks really good when he's holding it as well. And then you've got the SMGs. And these are actually 2 different colours. I think there's gunmetal and matte black in there, which really works nicely. You can see it's got this sort of moving piece here. Pulls forward and back, and you can put it down and then pull it up and move it back again. It's a nice little working piece. The clip comes out. You see the bullet up the top. This is pretty standard for 1/6 scale figures now. I mean, they've pretty much nailed the guns, if I'm honest. But it's very nicely sculpted and looks really cool. Comes with this handgun with the extended magazine. The bullet is shown up the top here, 2 different colours in it. Fits on nicely. Handle grip's got some texture in it. It's really cool at the top. And this does move forward and back, but it is a bit sensitive. And I think if you're not careful, this could actually fall out. Quite practical. This is the worst one because it could really do with some dry brushing, I think. Some gunmetal in there somewhere, but it's okay, it's effective. And we've already seen the sunglasses. They're quite nice. They could be shinier. There's a slight sort of texture on the front of the lenses here when they really should be far more glossy than they are. The bridge here just is a little thick, but it kind of has to be. But other than that, it looks really nice. Once you actually put them on the head sculpt, it's quite effective. I'm sure there'll be some sort of customizer out there who'll be able to make a better pair of glasses. I think Full Metal Customs will be good people to hit up on Facebook, see if they can do some sunglasses. But like I said, those sunglasses, they can be a little bit temperamental on the face. Yeah, it's magnetized, but it's not a very strong magnet. So when they move around, the sunglasses can fall off. So before you even think about moving it or touching it, take the sunglasses off first and you shouldn't have too much of a problem. And Morpheus comes with 2 different jackets, but they're very similar, but again, there's 2 different styles here. We've got this first one here with the collars pressed down. I believe this is probably the Matrix Reloaded style. It's a bit more like the, Reloaded, I think. But I think this one with the popped up collars and the sort of rain protector piece here, I believe that's more from the first movie when he's, walking through the streets with his hands behind his back and things like that. I believe that's where that comes from, but both are very nice. Obviously use the same sort of pleather. It's got a very interesting crocodile skin type pattern all the way through. It's a bit more stronger on the back here, you can see, but there's all these nice little subtle lines all the way through. They've obviously gotten lots of pieces and stitched them all together. This took someone a little bit of time to stitch all of these and make them. And they're pretty nice, if I'm honest. Yeah, I think this is wired down the bottom. You can see it folds up and it holds its place. Just like, I can feel there's a little bit of a wire, but it's so subtle. This one's wired. Let's see if the other one is. Testing. Yeah, I think they're both wired, which is really good. I didn't know that. I was first holding them and I was like, these aren't wired. But it turns out they are. Now they can look a little bit puffy on him, but because it's supposed to be a thick leather coat, that's not too big a deal, and it kind of works on this figure anyway. And the final gripe is that the sunglasses do fit well, but they don't really stay on amazingly. Like if I move it forward and back a little bit, it'll probably fall off. It's not doing it now because I'm showing you, but yeah, I actually tried to move this around a little bit and the sunglasses did fall off, but now it's not. So yeah, cheers. Thanks for making me look like a freaking idiot figure. Cheers. But yeah, you can see that the hand here, this sword gripping hand is very nice. It can actually hold the hand, can hold the sword very nicely. You could even have him with it down in the side there, and you can be pulling it out. You can have it come around. You can hold it this way and have the unsheathed, and you can be posing it like that. You can have him holding it like this, and then you can use a slightly relaxed hand to be slightly pulling the sheath off at the same time, make him look like he's about to go into action. That'd be a cool pose. And the gun gripping hands do exactly that, fit really well, and they actually wrap around the trigger very nicely. And here he is with the other pleather coat on. It looks pretty nice, it works really well. Obviously pleather, it can degrade over time, so you might want to take care of this with some 303 protectant. But yeah, I do really like the style of this figure. I mean, I think personally a lot of people are going to pose him with the long coat on, so the body underneath that sort of Caucasian body isn't going to bother everybody, but it will bother some, especially when they want to put him in action poses and they get the coat off and then he's, you know, his arms are bent. You're going to expose that forearm, so you might want to actually invest in some paint and then just paint those forearms a little bit. It's a shame you have to do that. You shouldn't really have to. The shoes are the other part that annoys me because they're just not very detailed, not very nice. Okay, so I think I prefer this coat, despite the fact that the other one does look cool. It does sort of fit around the shoulders and sort of cover that suit a lot more. But I really like how this guy turned out. They did a fantastic job. The head sculpt's excellent. It really is. I mean, the likeness to Lawrence Fishburne is, you know, it is there. But there is a little bit of tweaking they could have done to make it even better. But obviously this is an unlicensed figure and you just got to take that on the chin a little bit. But with the sunglasses on, it's barely even noticeable. And he looks cool as F. And I have to say, like I said before, the main letdown is that body there. You can see that the Caucasian skin is poking through, which doesn't really work for this figure. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go through and try and repaint those forearms. You can see it's exposed just about here, which is a shame because this is a really great pose. And I really like how it turned out. But if we just put this guy here for a second, let's just get Neo. Hey Neo, come here my friend. Stand next to your buddy. Boom. And here's Neo standing there. This is the hot toy standing next to Toy Works Morpheus. You can see that looks awesome. You can see height wise, it works really well. Again, the details are not there. Look at the detail in these Hot Toys boots compared to these like crappy plastic shoes. They don't even have a bit of shine on them, which is a shame. But yeah, you can always upgrade this guy with a few different things. Maybe some nice shiny shoes there would make him look awesome. But again, the rest of it really does pop. And he looks pretty cool. I'm just super glad we're managing to get a few more Matrix characters out of this. I don't think we're going to get any more from Hot Toys. They teased Agent Smith, but I'm not sure if they're ever going to do it. Maybe a Toy Fair exclusive. But again, I think Toy Works are working on an Agent Smith. It's a bit of a shame. I didn't really like the head sculpts on that. They don't really work that well. They kind of look a little bit like the CGI Hugo Weaving rather than the real Hugo Weaving, which is really bad because the CGI special effects in those Matrix sequels are starting to look a little bit stale now, and some of it just isn't good. Some of it's still amazing, but some of it leaves a lot to be desired. I really wished they had stuck with practical martial arts and stunt choreography for those sequels, because I think that would have worked so much better. But anyway, I genuinely really like this Morpheus figure. I think it's a great compliment to your Hot Toys Neo, and if you get a chance, I'd be snatching this one up, because I don't know if we're going to get any more Morpheus figures any time in the future. You know, I still have my gripes about the figure. The Caucasian body that they used can poke through on the sleeves here, so those forearms need painting. The magnet for holding these sunglasses on isn't super strong, so when you're moving around they could fall off. So do yourself a favour, before you start posing this guy and moving it around, always take the sunglasses off first, and then you will alleviate that problem. And obviously the padded bodysuit that they used, which really works for the aesthetic of Lawrence Fishburne, does take away some of the articulation. But you know, if you really wanted to, you could remove that padded suit if you really wanted to, or cut bits of it down to actually increase the articulation. People are going to walk past this in your display, they're going to go, oh hey, look at that Morpheus. And that's exactly what you want. You don't want to walk past and people go, oh hold on a minute, is that who the hell's that? Is that just some random dude in sunglasses standing next to Neo? No, they're going to look at this and they're going to go, cool, Morpheus. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to walk past this and look at it and go, look at that, Morpheus and Neo next to each other. Awesome. I think you get what you pay for with this guy. He's priced at what you would expect for this level of quality, which is mid-tier 1/6 scale figure. I think the fact that they didn't have to pay a license allowed them to get this past the finish line. So they've got to be commended for that. I'm so glad now that I have a really nice looking Morpheus in my collection. He complements my Hot Toys Neo very well. And now I have to try and get that Trinity figure. But I've seen it, and because they've upgraded the figure to a sort of TB League Feisen body, it's really ramped that price up. So it's creeping into the realms of a Hot Toy price, which is really expensive for a third-party unlicensed figure when you think about it. But I think I might just have to bite the bullet on that, because again, I don't think we're going to get any decent quality Trinity figures anytime soon. So my final say is, overall, if you are going to make a Matrix display, Toyworks Morpheus is a fantastic addition, and he is well worth picking up. I got mine from gianttoy.com. I think 1/6 Kit and TNS Figures also had it. Okay, now that the review is out of the way, I just want to take a couple of minutes to, I don't know, just talk about the whole sort of Toyworks, Toys era, Bullet Head, / even maybe Damn Toys kind of connection. There's a few very strong similarities between all four companies in the way they design and make figures. Now it could be that a lot of it is just down to the factories. They're just using the equipment and tools that a lot of the factories have, the same type of people from these factories. You know, they could have the same people making the clothes or designing the clothes and that type of stuff. But yeah, there is a strong link. I mean, this is the exact same stand that the Toys era Joker came with. They've even managed to block out this bit here that normally has the metallic bit in, and that's normally like a magnet for a nameplate or something, because the X-Men's figures from Toys era have these, and these are very similar. And also these parts here, they're actually all from, like, these are the same stands Hot Toys use. I think Ghost Rider, Hot Toys Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider came with a very similar stand. There are a lot of different figures out there that come with these, and they're all sort of interconnected because of the factories. But there's just something about all four companies, including the use of certain bodies and certain sort of style of, you know, buttons and, you know, stitching and head sculpting. There is something very similar between all of them, and that's why I think there is a connection, because I think these companies are quite small, and I think I would not be surprised if at least 2 or 3 of them are all working out of the same office, if not the exact same company. It's just that they're using different brands and different names for, you know, maybe licensing reasons, maybe because, you know, they are only allowed to produce a certain amount of figures every year before the tax bracket goes up in China. So, you know, if they produce 3 or 4 different companies, then maybe those companies are producing a lot less revenue themselves on their own. So then they will look like a small company, whereas they're all together at one big company. But maybe it's for tax reasons. Again, I'm just speculating. I don't know for certain about any of this. But yeah, there is so many strong similarities that it bugged me. So I just wanted to bring it up. Toys era, Toyworks, Bullet Head. I think Bullet Head and Toys era are definitely the same company. There's so many similarities there. It's not even funny. And now Toyworks, I'm starting, because I didn't buy much of their stuff, just because at the time I wasn't a big fan of any of the things they were producing or the head sculpts. But now I'm starting to see that there are, you know, some strong links there. So who knows? I'm speculating. I'm just making things up as I go along. I'm just riffing, you know, as a collector, you kind of notice things as you go along. And once you get enough of these figures, you kind of get a feel for them and their similarities and their differences. So what do you guys think? Do you think Toys Era, Toy Works, Bullet Head and Damn Toys are all part of the same company? There's certainly rumours to suggest that, but there's nothing concrete. Is there anybody who watches my channel who's actually from that side of China? Maybe you guys are, you know, I don't know where the companies operate out of. Maybe it's Hong Kong. Maybe you know something. Sound off in the comments below and let me know exactly what you think. But how was ever? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. And if you could do me a favour now, if you can get the fuck out of my cave, I'm going to pose this guy up with Neo. We're going to get ourselves an awesome Matrix display going. Bye bye, guys.